G'day, in this video we will be looking at post-track maintenance of the gearbox and final drive assemblies. Details next. I'm Mark Louth from Black Dog Motorsport, and if you or someone you know has the black dog chasing them, there are some links in the description which you may find useful. Just like the engine, as covered in part 2 of this series, the gearbox, whether it's an automatic or a manual, along with the differential, drive shaft, centre bearings, clutches, etc., will be subject to higher loads on the track than they would be when the vehicle is being driven on a public road, even though the design limits are not necessarily being exceeded. And as a result, just like the engine, they will require maintenance over and above the manufacturer's maintenance schedule in order to get the best longevity from these components and assemblies as is possible. With the manual gearbox fitted to my BRZ, I check the oil level after every 2 track days. I also rub some of the oil between my fingers and give it a good sniff. If the oil is starting to be affected by the track running, it's fairly obvious, as anybody who has ever smelled gear oil that has gone bad can readily attest. And when this starts to happen, I change it. When it comes to the differential, I use exactly the same procedure as I do with the gearbox. I also check the backlash of the differential by rotating the drive shaft backwards and forwards and checking for excessive play. Now, this is in no way a scientific exercise. However, if you have experience doing this, or you have been doing this to your own car on a reasonably regular basis, you will notice if things start to change, alerting you to a potential issue before the thing unceremoniously shits itself all over the road. The constant velocity or CV joints fitted to the drive shafts from the differential to the rear hubs, aka the axles, are also worth checking. Although it is quite difficult to check these properly without removing them. Having said that though, it's still worth casting an eye over the boots looking for splits or anything out of the ordinary. Also, grab the shaft in the middle and push it up and down or side to side and see if there is any movement. If there is movement, then there is an issue and you need to change them as soon as possible. For all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars, the tail shaft will also need to be inspected more often than specified by the manufacturer, along with the centre bearing if one is fitted. What you're looking for is play in the universal joints, play in the centre bearing, and make sure none of the small balance weights have parted company. Vibration in the driveline is a good indicator of this, as is small areas of missing paint where the weight used to be. This is what balance weights are likely to look like, and they are spot welded to the shaft near the yoke through the hole in the centre. Because the shafts are usually painted after they are balanced, it is normally fairly easy to spot if one of the weights has gone AWOL. Back when I did my apprenticeship, automatic transmissions were all pretty much the same, or at the very least variations of the same theme. With the advent of CVTs and infinitely variable transmissions, etc, 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 it's fair to say I am way out of my depth, and as a result I cannot advise you of any specific extra maintenance you should be doing if you track your car and you have an auto gearbox fitted. What I can say, however, is that the basic premise holds true. The gearbox will be under greater stress when driven on the track, and any maintenance specified by the manufacturer should be done earlier than specified in the maintenance schedule. How often, however, I cannot tell you, as I don't possess the required knowledge. If you do have an auto, my advice would be to seek advice from an expert on your particular transmission type, as these transmissions are incredibly expensive to replace if they have issues. To finish off this section, it's a good idea to check any mounts associated with the driveline, like gearbox mounts and diff mounts, etc, for excessive play or damage, because just like the rest of the car, they will be operating under high stress levels on the track. Righto, that's it for the gearbox and the driveline. In the next video we will be having a look at a system that has worked just as hard as the engine, and that is the brakes. So watch out for that one. If you would like to be notified when that video goes live, please consider subscribing. It is free. Don't forget to ring the bell, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.